So Nigel, why should anyone use a property search agent?
Well, you know, it sounds a bit of a cliche, but having moved homes many, many times myself, our type of service can prove invaluable to the discerning buyer or a family wanting to rent a property. A lot of it depends purely on the sort of location that they want to live in. It is driven quite often by schools and the commutability of the certain area that they want to move into. Then it comes down to the sort of size and style of house that they're wanting to purchase. In the early stages, we encourage, wherever possible, to meet with any prospective client. That way we can sit down, find out the reasons why they want to move, and just as importantly, what their dream aspirations are of their new property.
So is it safe to say then that you actually save your clients a lot of time and frustration when looking for a property?
Well, that's what they say to us. I can sit here and say that, and I know that to be the case, because we are frequently introducing properties to our clients that perhaps they won't have seen before our involvement, properties that perhaps aren't even on the internet, sometimes before the properties have even been photographed and the floor plans done, and that sort of activity. We get the inside track quite frequently on properties before they come onto the open market. That way we can introduce our buyers, our clients, to those properties.
What about in terms of selection? We know that people really hate to negotiate on price, and that's uncomfortable for people to discuss. How do you help people to get the right price for their property?
Well, we go out of our way on an ongoing basis to monitor and log what other properties have sold for. It's very important to give comparable examples to our clients, and of course when in the process of negotiation, because if we're justifying putting forward a proposition at one particular level, we've got to be able to justify why we think the property is worth that, and we ourselves will be making comparables and using other properties as examples as to why we believe we should be pitching our offer at certain level. So it's really important to get the strategy of what we offer, when we offer, and how we offer absolutely spot on.
What about privacy? What about your client's privacy? How's that protected?
Absolutely. You know, the one thing we would love to do is to put a client in front of the in front of the property we've just acquired for them. But of course, quite often they don't want the publicity to know that they have just acquired such a substantial property in the country and all singing or dancing. And of course, we've represented a large number of people in industry, in the entertainment world, and it would be lovely publicity from our point of view. But we recognise the need to have the confidentiality and the privacy of our clients retained at all times.
A lot of people will go to, on the high street, an estate agent when they're looking to buy a property. Is there a huge advantage going to a property search agent?
There are definite advantages to using somebody who can represent a buyer's interest. Of course, the estate agents are there to represent the interest of the vendors, the people who own the property. Our interests are with the people buying. We're the other side of the table, and that does make it totally different and vitally important that we can act on behalf of people purchasing property as opposed to those estate agents that are selling property. Our role can be very much as a result of people having had enough of having wasted journeys, coming to areas, looking at properties that perhaps look good on paper, but in reality when they turn up to view the property for the very first time, they realise that it's a total waste of their time. And they perhaps think that there may be a different way of finding their property or going about trying to find and buy their ideal property. And that's where we come in.
Are you owned by an estate agent or a financial institution?
No, definitely not. We pride ourselves on being totally independent and impartial. And there are situations where estate agents who have their own buying arm, I question sometimes the impartiality when an estate agent is selling a property and their buying arm is actually representing a client trying to acquire that property. There is no impartiality in that whatsoever, in my professional opinion.
Nigel, there must be a cost involved for supplying such a premier service.
Well, of course, there is a cost involved, and not everybody likes to outlay the cost as far as that's concerned. But again, quite often we're able to make such substantial negotiations and savings on behalf of our client that I think often it pays for itself. It is a bit of a luxury service, there's no doubt about it, but I think over the years we've proved that we've been able to negotiate and represent the interests of our clients exceptionally well.
Looking for property for your clients must give them a real advantage then.
Well, we would hope so. It's very difficult to prove, but we have got a large number of years behind us where a large number of properties that we have purchased for clients are properties that they just simply wouldn't have got to know about if it wasn't for our due diligence and what we actually do. And the one common thing that people come back to us with, once we've been successful and we've completed on the property, people are only too willing to write a little thank you letter, a little testimonial, and they've said, we wouldn't have been able to do this without you and your help.